and welcome to the 2021 Genoa Area Voting Forum. My name is Abigail Sullivan, and I am the Programs Librarian at the Harris-Elmore and Genoa Libraries. Thank you all for being here this evening. The goal of tonight is to become educated about the candidates and issues we will see on the ballot in November. All candidates on the Ottawa County ballot who are running for positions in the Village of Clay Center, the Village of Genoa, Clay Township, and Allen Township were invited to participate. A list of these candidates can be found on the back of the outline. Candidates and representatives will have 5 minutes to introduce themselves and speak on behalf of their campaign and position. After every candidate running for the position has spoken, there will be an opportunity for Q&A. If and when a community member wants to ask a question, please raise your hand and I will assist in fielding these questions in the order that they are received. Please keep in mind this is not a debate, rather a political forum where candidates can share their views in person regarding community concerns in a neutral, fair, and open setting. We ask that you keep your questions civil and appropriate. Each candidate group will have up to 5 minutes to answer questions. This forum will be filmed and shared on our Facebook and YouTube pages for future viewing. We will have that up tomorrow. And feel free to use the outline provided as a guide for tonight's conversation. So first up, we will hear from candidates running for Clay Township Trustee. I do want to note that Joel Mann will not be attending tonight, so I ask that Chad Gargis come up first.
Thank you, Abigail. Thought there'd be a few more people here than this, but that's all right. Last time I talked in front of this many people was at my grandpa's funeral about a month ago, so this shouldn't be too bad. Good evening. My name is Chad Gargis. I'm running for my second term as a Clay Township trustee. I'm 34 years old, and I've been married to my beautiful wife, Lindsay, for 4 years, and we have 2 dogs, Joey and Marcy. I'm a full-time 5th-generation farmer. My dad and I farm 1,900 acres in Clay Township together. My thoughts of running for trustee started back in 2007 when my buddy made me an election sign and I hung it up on the wall to look at every day at the farm. My grandpa passed away in 2012 and I was asked to fill his seat on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I did just that until getting elected for my first term as trustee in November of 2017. I started attending township trustee meetings on a regular basis in 2015. I wanted to learn what was going on. By attending the meetings, I knew firsthand what was going on, and it didn't give me any chances to make assumptions. I ran for trustee in the fall of 17, and that was the same year I got married, bought a house in the township, and got elected. Farming is a unique occupation and also a very blessed way of life. I get to bring my dogs with me to the farm every day. I get to be outside with the grass, the dirt, the water, and the ditches. I don't go to work a day in my life. I just get up in the morning and get to live loving what I do. Farming, along with being a trustee, gives me the ability to use my knowledge of equipment, soil, and water for the benefit of the township residents. I work well with the Ottawa County Engineer's Office, both on the farm and for the township. I also work with the Soil and Water Office for the benefit of the township. On the farm, I have to manage the following things: people and machinery, repairs, drainage systems, money, relationships with landowners, relationships with people we do business with, bookkeeping, accurate payroll and taxes with my accountant, crops and weather issues, time and logistics. All of these skills tie into being an outstanding trustee, which is what I strive to be. I have a very flexible schedule, so when something arises at the township, I am able to find a solution quickly. I understand the limitations of the township has regarding the road right-of-ways and why property lines are so important. I also understand the reasons we have zoning rules and why the people that came before us created them. Some of the things we have accomplished in the last 4 years include working with ODOT to stop them from putting a pipe underneath State Route 51 at the incorrect grade, which would have caused further drainage issues to the Centerfield Watson housing addition, as well as the farm fields upstream off Elwick Road. We purchased our own chipper, which gives us the ability to maintain our roads in-house, saving the taxpayers money by getting more bang for the buck. We purchased our own boom mower, giving us the ability to mow ditch banks and brush when they become a safety issue, and we no longer have to share it with Allen Township. We purchased a new dump truck with a snowplow and salt spreader to take the place of one of the trucks that was 30 years old. We purchased a new Ford F-250 maintenance truck, which took the place of 2 pickup trucks from the 1990s as well. I spearheaded the process we followed to get dead trees and overhanging branches removed from the township road right-of-way to make it safer for traffic and also our snowplow equipment. We have had 35 residents respond positively and are still working with 17 more. I led the way for the Genoa FFA chapter to farm the 5 acres next to the township hall, giving the kids a learning experience and also helping the township maintain the property. I had 2 of the FFA kids help me fix a drainage issue relating to the 5 acres so the ground would drain properly due to a tree root plug. We have been talking about a township website and Facebook page for almost 4 years now. Something else has always seemed to take a front seat to getting it accomplished. After our audit this spring, we learned from the auditor that we would score higher with having an online presence, so we got to work on it. A big helper in getting that accomplished was our newly appointed fiscal officer, Elaine. That was another thing we did in the last 4 years, was appoint someone to fill the shoes of the formal fiscal officer who had been at that role for 28 years. I feel like we've made a great selection with Elaine. She runs a tight ship and is very detail-oriented. She is very important to keeping things running smoothly. The township trustees work well with the Village of Genoa Council and the mayor and are making the necessary decisions to make Genoa an attractive place to do business and raise a family. The next big thing the township needs is a building to store our equipment inside to make it last longer and keep it in tip-top shape. We have been working on this project for almost a year, but we are waiting for material costs to get back to a reasonable number. In closing, I feel like I am making a positive impact serving our township, and it would be a privilege and honor to continue to do so for another 4-year term. Thank you, and thank you to the library for hosting this event. That's all I have.
All right, next we will hear from Joseph Badger.
Necessary evil. Hi, my name is Joe Badger, and I'm running for Clay Township Trustee. I have been a member of this community my entire life and a successful business owner in this township for more than 30 years. I've been a trustee for the last 2 years, and I can say with pride that I have been able to use my business experience to improve operations of the township and the fire district. I am asking to be elected to this seat so I can continue this work on behalf of you, the taxpayer. I think we can all agree that managing a sudden distribution of several $100,000 in COVID aid would be a real project. Last year we received $160,000 in COVID funding, and I proceeded to work alongside Allen Township to work through the grant regulatory maze to get tens of thousands of dollars to the Genoa schools and the Allen Township, or Allen Clay Joint Fire District, to help them financially during this pandemic. The balance was retained by the township and used for COVID expenses. It is important to note that the state audit of these funds approved every expenditure and none was returned to the state. With the second round of COVID funding, we will be receiving more than $270,000 for certain types of infrastructure. We are already working with the Village of Genoa to plan for using these funds to invest in our community and sanitary sewer system. These investments will minimize the village's sewer rate increase for every user on the system, whether you are in the village or not. This is important not only for a household budget, but for the larger goal of attracting the sort of large commercial investment this community needs to ease our collective tax burden. On the matter of road maintenance, Clay Township has improved its capability and now sets the bar for road maintenance in our area. You may not know this, but Clay Township is in the position of having the most road miles to maintain and one of the smallest road budgets in the county to do so. Clay Township has had to completely reinvent its operation, and now we do more with less to be successful in the era of sky-high asphalt costs. Clay Township became the first township in the county to acquire a Durapatcher. The days of using expensive cold mix to patch pothole are over. As a result, pothole maintenance has seen dramatic improvement, our budget is preserved, and other townships look to us for optimizing our operation. Clay Township is one of the few townships in the whole state to chip seal its own roads. Each mile we do saves the taxpayer approximately $10,000, and we save that money to put back into the roads. And this year and last year we did the maximum amount allowed by law, and it would really be illegal to perform any more maintenance. The fruits of these reforms are coming. Money saved from these efforts has allowed us to set aside enough money to ambitiously plan for the part of road maintenance people actually like to hear, road repaving. We've saved enough money to start repaving roads on a sustainable schedule, starting with applying for OPWC grants next year for the resurfacing of 4 miles. No debt this time. To put this in perspective, the taxpayer is still paying off the road repaving we did in 2016. Additionally, our truck fleet was aging and in danger of getting unreliable. We were able to work out, as Chad said, the perks of a new truck with a plow and a salt spreader that was affordable under our budget. This, along with the existing trucks, will ensure reliable snow removal for the extreme weather conditions we now see. Health insurance reform is a current project and another area where I've been able to use my business experiences to improve our operation. I discovered that the insurance plan was rather expensive, only covered employees, not their families, and had not been competitively bid in years. I asked our agent to bring quotes for this renewal period, and now we can switch to a new, more sensible plan, begin to offer insurance to families, and save $32,000 a year in the process. The coverage for families will be a huge step in the right direction for employee retention, which is important in this day and age. The project isn't finalized, but it is on the next meeting's agenda. I might note that I do not take insurance offered to trustees, and this has saved the township $24,000 over the last 2 years. And it will continue to save this township $6,000 per year if I am elected going forward. This is just another example of working to save and improve how your tax dollars are spent. I ask for your support and vote on November 2nd so I continue to work to maintain and improve township services for you, the taxpayer, without increasing taxes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Does anyone have any questions for either of those candidates?
You need some water, Joe? That's the only question I had. You're good?
I think so.
All right, next we will hear from Allen Township Trustee candidate Craig Blasey.
Good evening, my name is Craig Blasey. I'm running unopposed for my 4th term as the Allen Township Trustee. First 3 terms have been a very learning experience that never ends. Being Township Trustee, just when you think you get things figured out, something new comes along and blows all your plans you ever had out of the water, and you got to start from scratch sometimes. But it's the Allen Township has got a few things in the works. They're trying. I shouldn't say the township is trying. We have a sewer. They are studying putting in sanitary sewers into Williston. That has a lot to do with the Luther Home of Mercy, into Curtis. We have high E. coli levels in Crane Creek and in Cedar Creek. That is something that all of this COVID money, economic money, all this money that nobody had before, now it's falling out of the sky, and we do not know if we'll be able to use it. So we are looking at possibly helping the village of Genoa with the water, maintaining the water and things like that we currently have. That's basically all I have. I didn't really come prepared, didn't really know what to expect, so thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blasey. Does anyone have any questions? We did have another cancellation. Unfortunately, Isaac St. Marie is not here this evening, so we will now ask that Elaine Brooks make her way to the front. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Elaine Brooks, and I was appointed as Clay Township Fiscal Officer in October of 2020 to replace Chris Sheldon, who had retired. And I'm going to be on the ballot November 2nd to fulfill her remaining term through March 31st, 2024. A little bit about me. I grew up in Temperance, Michigan. I'm a graduate from Bedford High School from 1997. I'm sorry, yeah, 1997. My husband, PJ Kaneski, is a long-term resident in the area, and I've lived here in Clay Township since 2009. I have a bachelor's degree in IT management from the University of Toledo. I have associate's degree in IT management. I have a bachelor's degree in business science from Indiana Wesleyan University. I'm also Ohio State licensed massage therapist and a certified neuromuscular therapist. I work for Livione's Board, Pilkington, as an IT support area for 25 years, holding several different IT positions, which included working at the LOF facility in Shelbyville, Indiana for 9 years. Upon returning back to Toledo as an area IT manager, I occasionally travel to the UK for business meetings. I have worked as a financial manager for my son's hardwood flooring business. I have owned and operated my own massage suite in downtown Bowling Green. At the same time, I worked as a part-time payroll specialist for an accountant. As anybody in a new position, this last year has been a very learning experience for myself. Since my appointment as a fiscal officer, I have taken 44 hours of continuing education classes, including the required ethics and certified public recording training, records training. I have developed several spreadsheets to replace handwritten payroll calculations and tax withholding reports. I found reports within the UAN system to aid in figuring disbursements to workman's comp and helped aid in reporting, me in reporting to Job and Family Services, all of which were also all manually done by hand. I have developed check sheets to aid in making sure tasks are completed completely. I have also switched to online bill pay to those businesses that accept online payments. With the approval from the board and with the assistance of Joe Badger, I applied and received CARES Act funding and reported all expenditures as required by the government. I have also applied and have received the ARP funding, as you heard from Joe. Clay Township financials were audited back in March for the years 2019 and 2020, and there were no issues that were reported. As I said before, I have found that this year has been a year of growth and learning, and as I talked with other fiscal officers, they say it takes about 3 to 4 years to really understand everything that is needed to know all the responsibilities and the duties of this particular position. I thrive in learning new things, and I am honored to look forward to continuing my service to Clay Township community and in the years to come. I thank you for all your support.
Thank you, Elaine. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, lastly, before we get to the issues, we will hear from Genoa Area School District Board Member of Education, candidate Jeffrey Trainer.
Got it.
Okay,
He did not make it.
all right, moving on to the issues, we have Superintendent Ferguson here to talk about the Genoa Area Local School District additional tax levy.
First of all, I have some propaganda to hand out, so. First of all, I'd like to thank the library for hosting this once again. Again, I'm Mike Ferguson, Superintendent of Genoa Area Local Schools. As many of you know, we have a levy on the ballot here again in November. This is prior iterations back in November and May, which failed. I guess the best thing for me to just kind of explain our need in general. We are funded, or we have approximately a $13 million budget. 52% of that is funded by the state. So they've given us that money that helps do that, and basically have said to us, now find the rest of the money. Essentially what it is, that's what it boils down to. So over the years, you have passed levies that have helped fund this. This is an operating levy that helps our day-to-day operations. And when that levy passes, and the last one that passed in 2015 raised $1,025,000 a year. So that amount is a fixed amount. It doesn't change. Okay, if your property values go up, that fixed amount stays the same. Okay, and just on that note, before I forget, I know almost everybody in Ottawa County got a reappraisal on their property, right? The property values went up. The good thing in regards to our levy is that the levy was certified in 2020. So it's going to be based on your old values, not on what the final value is of your property. So the issue becomes over time is that with that fixed amount, costs don't stay the same. And you all are in business in some way, shape, form, or another, you know the costs don't stay the same. So that $1,025,000 we raised now 6 years ago, stayed steady, but our costs continue to go up. That's just the nature of any business. Unlike other businesses, we don't have other resources at our disposal. We can't raise the cost of something, so to speak. We can't sell more products or whatever the case along those lines. We're really tied to, we're really at the mercy of the state and our voters. That's really what it boils down to. Since I've been here, I started just in the summer after that last levy passed, and the ensuing budgets that have come from the state, we have received 2 increases. The rest has either been a deduction from the state, we received less money, or we were flat funded. And those two, the last one that received a raise was about $75,000 on a $13 million budget. It's not a big help, and the one I think in my second year received about $200,000. So those don't begin to cover the cost. And when we talk about, we've talked about this ad nauseum amongst ourselves, but if we had at least received the cost of the living increase, the equivalent of that over the years, we probably wouldn't be here to some degree right now, or we certainly would be asking for what we're asking for. So the flyer that I've handed out to you kind of lays out everything that we felt needed to be known by the public, that would make sense to the public in terms of our needs here. You see a potential cut list. That was not in the first 2 iterations of this levy, but we are at the point now where if this doesn't pass here, and if we have to go to May, these are the cuts that we're looking at next year. Okay, we can't make those cuts in mid-year right now. That would just create too much turmoil in the district. So, we've been blessed in some ways with some additional funding from the feds. And Alan and Clay Township was great. They joined together to give us some funding to help with some things, help with some projects. And as they know, there's restrictions on what you can spend that money on. We've also received federal money directly, and we spent a lot of money on COVID-related things. If any of you ever been in the high school, there's never been screens in the windows. We were able to put screens in all the windows in the high school, and especially this time of year when the bees are rampant. They're very grateful because we can get air in there and lock the screens out, lock the bees out, and just little things like that, you know, kind of one-time things. And the thing about that money from the feds, as you all know, is it's a one-time deal. It's not gonna keep coming and keep coming. I mean, we're surprised that we got what we got. But that has to have some specific applications. We started an after-school program, which is one of the requirements of that money last spring. But we have to spend 20% of what we get from them on that program. Now we're continuing it again this year. So there's just little things like that, and there are some things that we were able to help with our bottom line, which is slow the bleeding down, so to speak. But we're still looking at a deficit bordering on 7 figures by the end of this year. So it's, you know, it's tough because we know that nobody wants to pay more taxes. I don't want to pay more taxes. And we hate having to come back to our community every 5 or 6 years or so to ask them. You know, we have people on fixed budgets. You know, people that have a lot of property, own a lot of property, or work a lot of property. You know, that can add up. But I think one of the things that we do with it for the community, we provide, I think, a great service to our kids. I think we have a great school district. We have a lot of opportunities for our kids. We're doing a better job at providing career opportunities for our kids and giving them the links to that. And just our programs in general, our music program, our arts program, our technology program now, and as well as our athletics. You can get a great education in Genoa, and I know plenty of you have or have children that have, friends that have. We want to continue that. If you look at the potential cut list, essentially, if we are going to cut anything, it has to be equivalent to what that levy was going to raise, in order for us not to continue to incur the debt at the same rate it's coming. So these are real people, okay, that are affected by this, and this is what's tough about it. It's not just numbers. They're community members. They're important people in our community. They contribute to the well-being of our kids, and they do a great job of it. I don't know. This is tough because, again, I hate asking for money, but this is for the greater good of our kids. I think this is, you know, at the end of the day, this improves our property values. A good school district improves your property values. You know, I know some people say, well, I'm never leaving my house. Okay, at some point, you know, that may be passed on to your kids and grandkids, and that there's value in that. And I think people want to be here. I think one last thing, I'm probably, if nobody's timing me, I'm probably over, but open enrollment. We have kids that come to our district that live in other districts. We have over 200 kids, and that has grown every year since I've been here. We only have about 40 leaving. But that's really those people that we talk to time and again, they want to be here because of our reputation. A number of them are graduates that can't find housing in this area. And you know, a lot of them are just impressed with the way we do business and the results that we get. And I think that speaks volumes about, you know, what we do in Genoa schools. And I would just ask for your support and your family support. And if you have any questions, whether it's now or in the next 4 weeks, please don't hesitate to contact myself or Bill and I, our treasurer. So thank you for your time, and do you have any questions?
When you guys do have to do deficit spending, how does that work, or how do you ever catch up? Is it kind of like a church where you hope for a donor to cover it at some point in the future, or?
No, I mean, we're deficit spending now, but what the state will do, we have a cash balance that sits there, and you know, the levies the money we raise accumulates in there. And so if you look at our cash balance, say last year, there's $3 million in there. You're okay. Well, that goes quickly when you don't have anything coming in. So if we get to the point where we have a negative cash balance, before we even get there, the state's going to come in and say, okay, so you're going to be here, your levies haven't passed, so here's what you're going to have to, they're going to tell us what we're cutting. We won't have a choice, essentially. You know, so they'll look at their minimum standards that the state has for school districts employees, minimum positions that you should have, you know, minimum positions. They'll take us at least to that minimum. And if it still doesn't cover our deficit, that'll take us even further. But we'll be at a point to have fiscal, be a fiscal watch or fiscal emergency along the way if it goes that far.
It's kind of like farmers implementing cover crops or helping take care of the lake voluntarily before it's mandated.
Yeah.
You're trying to do the right thing before it's
Before we get there.
mandated by the state. Got it.
Other questions? Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. There are two other issues that we will see on the ballot. Unfortunately, the individual who is going to speak about these is not here this evening. But I do want to mention the Allen Township replacement with increased 0.75 mil for maintaining and operating cemeteries. It's over 5 years beginning in 2021. Clay Township renewal tax levy, 0.5 mil for maintaining and operating a cemetery, 5 years beginning in 2022. Okay. So that ends our 2021 Genoa Area Voting Forum. I really appreciate everyone being here this evening. Feel free to take some snacks with you and some Amplex swag on the way out. And I wish you all the best of luck with your campaigns this November.